Okay, exam 3. It has got, it's set up the same, but there's only 20 conceptual questions at 1 point each, but there's only 16 problems, and they're 5 point each. The reason is I didn't like a lot of the problems. So there's only 16. So here's an example of a conceptual question. An increase in which of the following would increase the price of a call option, all else equal? Stock price volatility, interest rates, exercise price. It's the first 3 is the answer. That's an example. Now, I want to share my screen, and let me find what I want to share. Right here. That's what I'm, if I just share my screen, I can just share everything. I think. Apparently I can't. Well, okay, there we go. That's what I want. Come on, go down there. Look down at the bottom. Go down here. Okay. I picked out some problems from chapter 7, 8, 9, and 10, just as examples of the type of problems that are on the test. And there's the solutions to them. And I'm not going to post this as a spreadsheet, as a Excel. So this is it. This is first one, straightforward. $280,000 mortgage, 20 years, 5 1/4. On top of that, you have to pay $250 a month for insurance and taxes. What's your total monthly payment? Well, straightforward. Don't forget to make the adjustments for monthly. Get the monthly payment and add $250. You all should all do that because that's partially 331. I think there's a problem in Connect similar to this one right here, but it has a lot of other parts to it about like how much would yours be worth afterward and all, because I was dealing with that one today. Suppose you own 400,000 shares of common stock in a firm that has 50 million outstanding. Firm's going to sell an additional 6 million through a rights offering. If you exercise your rights, how many can you purchase? Well, 400,000 divided by 50 million, you own 0.008. So you can purchase 0.008 of the 6 million, 48,000 shares. So far, so good. Okay, this is, and by the way, here's where I'm getting them. That's from chapter 8. This is from chapter 8. It's evaluated index, and it's like example 8.5. Today, stock A is worth $25, 1,000 shares. B is $35, 500 shares. C is $60, 1,200 shares. So go across, multiply across, get the market value, add it up. They said that the index was 100 to begin with, so the divisor's 1145, make 100. So what if tomorrow stock A is $26, B is 34, and C is 61? Okay, multiply across, divisor stays the same, so now the index is at 101. Okay, so far so good? Okay, number 8. Also from chapter 8. I didn't find an exact example for this one. You buy a stock for $30 a share and sell it for $33. Is there a question? Okay. You buy a stock for $30 a share and sell it for $33 after holding it for slightly over a year and collecting 75 cents dividend. Your ordinary income tax is 28%. Capital gains is 20%. What's your after-tax return? Well, look over here. Here's how you have to do it. The capital gains is the 33 minus 30, $3, and the tax on that is the 20%. The dividend, 75 cents, and the rate on that is 28%. So your total tax was 81. Your net return, the 375 minus 81, 294. So there you go. Your percentage return is the 294 over G28, what you bought it for. These are not bad. Here we get to some that are more interesting. These are chapter 9, and they're very much like exhibit 9.3. U.S. Bank converted $1 million to Swiss francs to make a Swiss franc loan to a valued customer. The exchange rate was 1.25 francs to the dollar when they did it. The borrower agreed to repay the principal plus 4.5% interest in 1 year. The borrower repaid the Swiss francs at the loan maturity. When it was repaid, the exchange rate was 1.2 francs per dollar. What was the bank's dollar rate of return? Okay. Swiss francs loan. It's actually times $1.25. That should say $1.25. I don't know that I can adjust it on here. I'm not good at this. $1.25. Remember, I'm here with no keypad. Okay, that was the loan. There's the interest. I shouldn't be allowed out, apparently, without a keypad. Well, I'm on the wrong things. Why? Go back over there. It's over there. 4, 5. There we go. And change. Whoop, go down 1. Just ignore those over there, I'm thinking. I'll get rid of that. Okay. They pay the interest back. They convert it back to US dollars. They're dividing it by G38. That one right there. That's the US dollars. So they started with $1 million US dollars. They got back $1,088,541. And just ignore that part too. Oop, apparently I didn't change those correctly. There we go. Okay. Some of these on the exchange rate thing are a bit more involved. Okay, this one's purchasing power parity. At the beginning of the year, the exchange rate between the Mexican peso and the US dollar was 22 pesos to the dollar. That's an indirect quote. You need direct for what you're going to do. Over the year, Mexican inflation was 14%, US inflation was 4%. If purchasing power parity holds, at year end, the exchange rate should be approximately dollars per peso. Okay. That's indirect. You have to convert it to direct. 0.04545. Inflation is 14 in Mexico. It's 4 in the US. There's the formula I'm using right there. And it's on the formula sheet. Purchasing power parity. And here's how I'm getting it. Is that big enough for y'all to see it? I'm on a little screen, so there we go. Okay. I'm looking to solve for the change in the US rate. That right there. So that's what it's going to be. 3, 4, 5, 10, etc. The difference. That's the difference. That's what the rate should be. It's going to go down. So it was that. It's going to go down. Whoops. Let me take that one out. It's going to go down to that. Here's another one. Spot rate for the Egyptian pound is 0.064 per pound, dollars per pound. Over the year, inflation in Egypt is 10%, US is 4%. If purchasing power parity holds, at year end, the exchange rate should be approximately dollars per pound. Now this one, they're giving it to you in the right form. You need dollars per pound. That says the other way, but it's dollars per pound. I can't even type right. The inflation, left-hand side is 4, left hand of this thing right here. That's what I'm looking at right there. So the change in the exchange rate, the new exchange rate is going to be that. It's that plus that. I apparently didn't clean this up extremely well. And another one from chapter 9. You can buy or sell the Hong Kong dollar spot at the Hong Kong dollar 9.867 to the US dollar. You can buy it when you're forward at 10 to the dollar. 10 to the dollar. But I put 9.9 over there. I have no idea why. Well, 867. I can fix that one. And 10 to the dollar. 10 to the dollar. There you go. If the US annual inflation rate is 4 and Hong Kong is 10, well, it must be the Hong Kong rate. I'm solving that. I'm solving interest rate parity. Back over so you can see. This is interest rate parity. There's an example of this in the book, 9.6. Hong Kong to the US dollar. Turn it around the other way. US dollar to the Hong Kong. Y'all are awfully silent out there. Okay, chapter 10. It gets easier. You purchased a put option on Microsoft. Option has an exercise price of $365. Microsoft is currently trading for $375. Put option costs $4.50 a share. What's your net profit or loss if Microsoft drops to $355? Well, there you go. If it drops to $355, yeah, $385, it's going to be the strike price minus the price. Here's the logic, minus the cost. You can go out now. You bought a put. It doesn't say you own it, so you're not protecting it. You bought a put. You can sell it for $365. You can go in the open market and buy it for $355 and sell it for $365. So that's $10 minus the $450 you paid for the put. Okay. And the last one, the Soda Central Bank takes a long position in $1,000 T-bond futures, which are currently quoted at 106.120. If the price of the futures contract decreases to 105.280, what's the bank's profit or loss? Okay, here's what you need to know on this one. You have to convert the 120. It says 10 over 22. That is not right. It is 12. I don't know that I should be let loose with these things, I swear. 12. There you go. It is 12 over 32. If that had another digit, if it was 125, it would be 12.5. This is 28 over 32. That's how they convert it. So the price is 106,375. You sell it, it goes down to 105,875. So you lose $500. Did I just completely confuse you all? Where are you guys? Let me get you back up. Well, there you are. Questions? Did I totally confuse you? You're not saying anything. Okay.
I feel better about it. Is this going to be put on Blackboard so we can go through that spreadsheet?
I wasn't going to, but I think I should clean it up before I do it. But let me show you where some, share my screen. Well, I'm just sharing my screen. If I go to Blackboard, I'm going to show you where, right over here. Right here, this is under exhibits for exam 3. There's the formula sheet right there. There's some for chapter 7, which might pop up. Well, it apparently doesn't want to open it. Yeah, I'll put them there and then I'll go back and open them. There are some more in here. And I'll bring all 3 of these up. Put that one there and bring up the 3rd one. Now, one of these, I think it's chapter 9. I don't think 10 is here because 7 was on the other test, wasn't it? That was old. No, 7's on this one. There's no 9 here. Yeah, save that one. Okay, let me go get these. Modified. I want chapter 7 review. There we go. It's coming. It's coming. There. That's basically it. It was the problem on the monthly payment. This one had to do with the points options. That was the other thing in chapter 7. Chapter 8. Come on. Come on, open. Open. Okay, there we go. Okay, chapter 8 is the one that's got the value-weighted and price-weighted index examples. And chapter 9, though, has got some big ones. Chapter 9 is the one that's got, oops, whatever I did, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, share the screen again, there we go. There we go. This is the one that's, chapter 9 is the one, put this back down, go down. There we go. Chapter 9 is the one that's got all the ones about making the loans one way or the other, the default-free loans. And there is a problem on there, as you saw in the example, that is like that. Now, I tried to pick these out. I want this little thing to get out of my way. Pick these problems. They're good examples of the kind that are on the test. I think, well, the one just like this is in chapter 7. This one is one of the connect problems I know. This is in the value-weighted index part. This one's pretty straightforward. These kind are in the chapter 9, I believe. Yeah, here's an interest rate parity one right there. Interest rate parity. Here's an example. There you go. So there's examples of all of this. Here's purchasing power parity. So there's examples of all of these out here in these exhibits. And these are, when it says 92, 93, 94, 95, those are doing the examples that are in your book. So it's following those exactly. Am I helping?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
I was just making sure the ones that you just went over were in Blackboard, so we can go through and pull them up and try to rework them.
They're not, but I tell you what I will go do. I will go clean it up a little bit and just put the answer out there.
Okay.
And then you can make sure you can get it.
Yes, ma'am.
How about that?
And if are you going to put this recording on there too? Because we can just go through that too, if that's easier.
Yeah, I'm going to put the recording out. I am recording and I am going to put it out there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, it will be there. So I think, like I say, there's only 16 problems because some of those others, like chapter 9, where they're making a loan and they're doing this, they're just too involved. Mm-hmm. You need Excel to do it. Let me put it that way. And you don't have it, but you need Excel. It's a lot of calculation. So I wanted to pick some that were fairly calculation intensive, but not horrific. I mean, not overboard. So yes, I will see what I can do about that. Now, the formula sheet, go back to exhibits, exam 3 exhibits, should be right there. Over here. Yep, there they are. Chapter 7. We shouldn't need those. Chapter 8. I hate those ones about the number of shares needed to elect with cumulative voting. That tells you something right there. There's holding period return, price weighted index, value weighted index, foreign exchange. Here's the ones you're going to need on purchasing power parity and interest rate parity. Are right there. And there's chapter 10. There weren't any actual formulas. They just talked about puts and calls. This was fast. Questions about it? Last test before the final. But we'll do another Zoom for those last 2 chapters. And let me see, I can stop sharing that. Yeah, we can do another Zoom. You'll note I've moved downstairs. I'm downstairs now because I kept getting low bandwidth upstairs. So I thought, okay, I'll move closer to the router. So the router's in the next room. But if you hear the dogs, they're in the next room too. So you might hear a little arf arf every now and then. But yeah, I've moved downstairs and I'm not getting low bandwidth or anything anymore. So apparently that's what I needed. I was just too far from the router. Questions on anything?
Yes, how do the history of this exam compare to the other 2 exams in terms of difficulty?
I don't know. I can go look and answer you. I can go look at, like last year or so and answer you. 331, see, I already know that exam 3 is the hardest one. In here, I don't know. But I'll be glad to go look. Let me make myself a note. And I'll, when I go in the other room, I'll go look. EX3 versus others. I will be glad to look and let you know. I think these examples give you a good idea of what's going to be on there. I hope that was my intent. That was my intent. Mm-hmm. Okay. It opens at midnight. It's open all day tomorrow. And considering how yucky the weather is, I plan to be here all day long if you have any problem. I'm waiting for the sun or something like the sun to come back out. And remember, just as a note, Proctorio, I've seen it happen several times. If you have a problem and it asks for the password or it doesn't work, reinstall it. Because sometimes it just gets messed up and you just have to reinstall it. Mm-hmm. But it'll work. But if you have a problem, I'm planning to be here all day long. So I'll be glad to answer questions anytime if you get in trouble. Y'all do good on this. Let's cruise into the final in good shape. Cruise toward Thanksgiving. Yes. Okay. Any other questions? Y'all review. There you guys are. Y'all are all quiet. Jonathan's smiling. Look over there.
I'm just ready to get to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe we're going to be off that long?
I know. It's going to be great.
Until what? Right the day after Martin Luther King. So it's what? 3 weeks into January. We're going to be off for almost 2 months. Yeah. Well, I am doing personal finance again in the intercession, but that's 100% online. So that's kind of doesn't count. But it's a long time off. And I don't know, the numbers are going back up in some places. So that's not good. Not good. I don't know. Okay, you guys stay safe. If you have any questions tonight, well, I'll get this cleaned up and put out there. Jonathan, I'll look it up and see what the history is on this test. I actually don't know. Yeah, this capital markets, just in general, is not extremely quantitative. And most of y'all like quantitative. You prefer the calculation questions. So I try to find the best ones I can, so we can have some, because it's a lot of terminology. It's a lot of, it's a lot more terminology, which you need to know, but we need some quant stuff in there too. I'm a quant person too, so I like it too. Okay, if that does it, y'all do good. I will get this out there tonight and send you an email when it's all out. And when they render this thing, whatever it is they do when they render, they send me an email and tell me it's up and I've got it. And I will post it out there and send you all an email.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Anytime, any questions you think of, I'm here.